All right. So thanks again for taking the time out to join us. Join us all in our Healing Woman Circle today, breast care. We're going to talk about some things. Again, this is our second lecture. The first one was about 2 weeks ago, and I uploaded it on YouTube and also sent it out in a campaign. So everyone will get a chance to look at that. And, you know, it's a lot of information on there, but we're going to build on that information. So let's get it started. So I'm going to go ahead and hide our screen here. So the first thing we talked about in the previous lecture was the things that breast care health depends on. So just restating that our life force or our energy, how it flows through our meridians is one of the ways that we can help our breast health. Also maintaining a healthy emotional balance, our exercise, our massaging, what we're talking about now, our breast massaging, our genetics, and nutrition. So we're going to just go briefly into each one of these avenues. So right here, we're looking at the life force through the meridians. And the meridians, of course, as we talked about before, energy pathways and how it flows within the body. So I kind of tried to color coordinate these pathways. And we talked about the conception vessel and how that shoots from the perineum and goes all the way up here. That's the conception vessel, or renmai. And then we have the pericardium, which is what we talked about. The meridian is actually here, but there's also a pericardium that goes around and kind of protects your heart from, infections and other things that occur to not get into the heart from the lungs and things of that nature. So this is actually the energy pathway of the pericardium. And then we have the spleen meridian, which starts up here by the collarbone and kind of wraps itself under the armpits. We have our gallbladder meridian. That's again around the under armpits, right in the upper quadrant of the breast. And then it goes over here too. So this is still considered the chest or breast area. And our kidneys, which runs in here. So you have I skipped all the points, but these are in acupuncture, they have points in here. So they're numbered in these different points. And so if you've ever been to an acupuncturist, they'll pull out these little tiny needles or little magnets and put on these different points in your body. And so this is how they're numbered. So you have 5 spleen points coming down in your chest. And in your gallbladder, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. And, or your spleen, spleen is 5 and gallbladder is 3. And your kidneys, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them right in this area here. So you have 6 points there. And you have a liver point, which is right in here. And of course, your stomach is over here, and you have, again, 6 points in your stomach. And all of these are right in your chest, breast, armpit area of your body. And again, we talked about how the liver governs the stomach. And so if you have something going on there in the gallbladder, the liver is going to affect these particular meridians as well. So, it is just a pathway of what we were talking about before, being mindful of different things you do, the type of bras you wear, etc., pressing up on these energetic points, which is very important to consider. So the next issue that we are going to address, which is the emotional imbalance balance that happens and how it affects our body in our breast. So the right in here, the frontal lobe is an area in the brain that basically governs our personality, how we judge things that we've been through in our lives. That also, that judgment gives us kind of a drive and where we're going for, you know, things that we're trying to achieve in our life. You know, when we judge something, it's like, oh, I don't want to be that way. So sometimes we might overdo or really criticize different parts of our bodies, you know, even if our breasts are too small or too big. This is all things that, you know, fall under judgment, self-judgment and judgment of others, how other people carry themselves, how they wear their chest or bustier bras. You know, we look at those things as women and, you know, form small judgments about them. Also, this is a space for our emotions, and scientists believe that this area is also responsible for self-awareness and different forms of intelligence. So this is a space in our brain here that really works with the emotional balance. And of course, we know our emotions, how we feel about things, you know, stimulates this part of our brain, which goes on to send signals to various glandular systems, and they release all of these chemicals in our body. So when we have these different long-term issues of stress factors, self-judgments, and the way we feel about ourselves, this is going to create this alchemical imbalance that's going to be happening within our brain, and our body awareness is affected by it. So when we start doing this, you know, there's a lot of different things that we can look at. One of our guests here today actually teaches programs on how you can listen to your self-talk. And it's a very amazing program. I went through it and I'm going through another one. Her company and is called Original Titans, and she gets into this. She makes you really focus on these particular things, and it's very, very powerful. So this is something that we want to always look at, what type of things we're saying to ourselves, because as we see here, you know, there's this whole alchemical thing that's occurring, even if we're not aware of it, but it's happening. So these are things we can control. So when we see it coming up, you know, we have a thought, oh, my breasts are too small or something, you know, we're doing this. We're creating these thoughts in our own mind. So we have the ability to think about other things. And the Bible talks about it when it talks about how we should think on certain things. And this is important, very, very important. Think on things that are good, of good report. It tells us, you know, that this is how we should think, and not think about the things that make us feel bad about ourselves or anything like that. So we're going to go on here. For the next one is daily exercise. So today I went out and rode my bike. I rode my bike and I had a good time exercising out in nature, breathing in. It was really nice because the path that I was taking had it was filled with leaves on the ground, and you could just smell the leaves coming up, you know, as you were riding. And I really enjoyed that. So exercising out in nature is amazing. I was paying attention to the rustling and the bushes of the little squirrels and chipmunks, and hopefully no bears, because it was some caves out there. But at any rate, just paying attention to nature and what the trees are doing now. They're getting ready to shed themselves to the earth. So some are still in bloom and turning beautiful colors. So just encouraged to do a walk, even if it's just around a block or something, and where you're out and interacting with nature. This really helps to move your lymph fluid through because you can only move that fluid through motion. So the fourth thing that we're going to go into is our massage through the lymphatic flow. So we talked about that, doing the massage and how that stimulates your breast tissue through pressure. And you're also using aromatics that go in, and they have a intelligence to them. Massage by itself is powerful, but when you bring in the herbal kingdom, plant, florals, that just boosts what you're doing for yourself. You begin to tap into aromatherapy, and that goes back into how the emotions affect the brain and how your brain affects your emotions. And that is all impacted through your olfactory system, which is through your nose. That's the opening. And so that's an amazing way to deepen your self-practice. Home practice is by bringing in the kingdom of the earth, using healing clays. If you have breast cyst or pimples on your breast that come up, you can use clays, and this can help to pull out poisons that's there. Also paying attention to natural deodorants, which I use alum salt, which is very, very cleansing energetically, and as far as cleansing bacteria and that cause odor. But it doesn't have any side effects, which is what I love about it. And if you get a rock, you may pay $20 for one. That's like the top of the line price, a big fat piece of salt. And it'll last you for 2 years, You wet it, you put it on, and it lasts. You feel bad about it. It's like, I feel like I need to order another one just because we're over consumers and we want to just have more. But really, a little goes a long way. And you don't have to order that much of it because it really lasts. And salt is cleansing in itself. So by having that underneath your arms, it's a way of energetically cleansing energy that's there that you need to cleanse. So I, use a mask under my arms several times a month and under my breast and around them. And this is just my way of treating myself, pulling out any impurities that could be there, and also softening the skin. So you can kind of imprint all of the clays and herbals and oils that's there to make your breasts nice and soft and keep them youthful looking. The last thing I wanted to do was to have drooping breasts that droop down to that was like a nightmare for me, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I just never wanted to have that. And so that was one of the reasons why I got into the breast massage, because it keeps your breasts youthful and perky. And even if you have some sagging, if you start doing the breast massage, you'll notice your breasts will naturally perk up on their own. It might take a little minute now, but it will happen. And you don't want to use perfumes because, again, right in the area of your neck, your throat, your chest, in that area there, you have lymph nodes in your necks on the sides that sometimes if you get ill, you'll feel them pump out. And then you also have your thyroid, parathyroid housed right in the center. And then you have your thymus gland right above your heart. These are areas that as women, we spray our perfumes at. So we really want to be careful about those things when we are working with aromatics. using these chemicals. If you're buying the perfumes from the store, it's a chemistry project. And so we talked on the last lecture about all the different things that's in there, and I only named a few. Every different perfume industry uses different chemical compounds, and they're very knowledgeable about using things that will attract us to want more and more. And some of the things we don't understand what it's doing to our brain. So they're using these sciences of aromatherapy, but they're just not using plant-based products to invoke these emotional responses. So sometimes when you spray certain perfume or you smell someone and then you start feeling some kind of way, you have to be very cautious about that, because there's a science behind a lot of these different aromatics that we're paying lots of money for. So these are things to consider. The next thing we're talking about is genetics. And we have to really pay attention to the things our family that has passed on, generations of what it is that they ate, what kind of medical issues did they have? Does breast cancer run in the family? If it does, what can you do to create a different pathway? Because we know as family, stress factors can be passed down, different menus that we make we inherit meals and menus and ways that we prepare our foods. These are things that we pass down. And so those are things we can control. And those things that we can control is a way that we can go in through epigenetics and change what is going on in our genes. So just because, all of my family had diabetes does not mean I have to. So I created a whole different menu plan for myself. So that is not something at this moment that I struggle with, even though genetically, most of my family they're diabetic. Most of the women have had hysterectomies. That would be considered genetics. But so far, I haven't. I'm in my 50s and I still have my reproductive system. And I'm so grateful for that, because I understood that that was something that passed down through my gene line. And I knew that, well, outside of some things I can't change, but I can change my diet. I can look at stress factors. And so those are things that I did. And it is very effective. It's worked for me. So these are things. We also want to look at our weight. These are also things that can be passed down through the family. My family on my father's side are very hippie women, very hippie, big legs. And, and I was like, oh, I kind of see that coming at me. So I really try to work hard and get on my bike and do some things that, not that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that some people like that, but not too much, So at any rate, family genes and genetics is very important to look at what you can do to shift that. And the last thing is nutrition. Nutrition is important. The things that we can do is invite more cruciferous vegetables into our diet, using leafy greens. This is very, very supportive. Citrus fruits, fermented foods. Like this time of the year, I love to have sauerkraut and miso soup and kimchi. These are things that you can have that's very supportive. Also having berries and nuts is mixed together, kind of cuts out the sugar. And if you're having issues such as cancer factors that come up, then you really want to eliminate fruits and sugars if you can, just eliminate them. That's going to help you to really get in and bring in some very healing, the healing vegetables. And there's you can really play with spices to make very delicious meals. But iodine is something that they've been talking about, the link of breast cancer and the lack of iodine. So that's a mineral that is very supportive in dealing with breast issues. So play with nutrition. And now we are going to go into our speakers here for this tonight. And the first person, I'm going to give the mic over to Latrice. And Latrice is going to share on how she dealt with a cyst using the power of prayer and self-massage. So Latrice, if you're here.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Hi. How's everyone doing this evening?
Hey, come on.
Hey, yes, so, I had, I'm sorry, go ahead, Londa.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to share that I had, kind of going back a little bit, I had a mammogram, and the test came back as something was going on, like it was, they need to go deeper and do an ultrasound on my breast, and they found out that it was a cyst. So I had talked with, Londa about it, and she and I, because I was really concerned because breast cancer does run in my family. My aunt, she was 38 when she passed away with breast cancer. My aunt, great aunt, my grandmother's sister, she had breast cancer, and my cousin, which she's the youngest of the group on my mom's side of us, my first cousin, she died of breast cancer. And that was she was recent. She was probably, and actually with her, it started with breast cancer, and then it kind of went through her whole body. So, but she wasn't even 40 years old. She was 39. So that whole thing with the cyst and, Londa and I had massage. I had prayed, and massaged my breast. And, I didn't know what the results, was going to be or anything as of yet. And, but through the massaging and the prayer, when the results did come back, the cyst was something very small. So there was a blessing that, we were able, to massage and work through that. So I'm good today.
Thank you so much for sharing, Latrice. And it was a blessing. And it was like when you said it, I knew that it's going to be fine. We're going to get through this. You're going to get through it. And I put myself in it, because I'm like, we're together with this. And it worked out. You were able to work with that, and they weren't able to find anything, so that was a blessing.
It was
really a blessing. So our second guest, Linda, she was not able to get on to the call, so I just kind of wanted to share her story. Linda actually had let's go back. Linda had a milk duct that was plugged, and it caused her a great amount of pain in her breast. She had 2 children and was not able to nurse them. So she was having a lot of pain in her body, and she ended up getting the breast, the duct removed from the breast, and then she didn't have any more issues. But she started using breast massage, and that was how she was able to, she was doing it before, and that happened, and then she just kept using the breast massage. So that was how Linda got through her journey. And she's been doing Taoist practices of female cultivation practices, that is, for probably over 20 years now. And she's in her 70s and very active, doing very well. in that process with no problems. So the last person we want to bring on is Tracy. And Tracy's going to share about her courageous battle with stage 4 hormonal-driven breast and ductile carcinoma. So Tracy, come on.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know if I'm on.
I see you.
See me. Oh, okay, that's good. As Londa said, I did have breast cancer. I had to have a mastectomy. I had to have radiation. I did that, and I also did the chemotherapy. I had to do chemotherapy for a whole year with Herceptin, and then I did the other bad chemicals for 6 months. I had to do 6 rounds of chemo. Nobody in my family had it from my mother or my father's side, so I don't know how it landed in my lap. But I fought, I'm here, and I just thank the Lord that I'm here. Yeah. That happened in 2012, June was when I was told that I had breast cancer.
And you actually said that it happened, you felt that having a baby.
Yes, I do. I was told, well, I wasn't told by any doctors, but a little research. When women have children,
your sound went out. I hear you now.
When I was told, well, I'm in the car. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay.
I was told if you have, it could cause cancer. I don't know how true that is, though.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's a lot to deal with, and you got through it, and you've been cancer-free for how long now?
Ever since 2012. I'm here.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you do sometimes get breast massage from me. we use healing oils, and you're doing really good with it.
I'm doing well. I have issues with pain still. Where I had my breast taken off at, there's still those all those nerves there, and they're just like this, and they don't know what to do, and it causes a lot of pain. So I do take medicine for that, and I am on tamoxifen. I have to do tamoxifen for 10 years, and I do the gabapentin for the nerve pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that that is working and keeping you here. So great recovery. So thank you all. Welcome. Welcome. And thank you so much for sharing. And this is just really a blessing to have all of you wonderful women here. I can share some things myself. I've had a couple of lumps in my breast. It's always usually the left breast, which is interesting that it happens there. But the last one I had was right underneath, and it was a pimple, you know, so I dealt with that with using clays, and I also use selenite crystal on there. So I would, when I'm meditating, I would put the selenite on top of my breast, and it's very cooling. So that was a way that I dealt with the breast pimple. The other one was a cyst, like a knot, and that I dealt with. It was painful, very hot, but it wasn't very big. It was like maybe the size of a dime, but they kept coming up on the left side. So that's a energetic side that I really have to deal with. In my tradition that I use, healing tradition, which is traditional Chinese medicine. It teaches that that is like the more masculine side of me. And I do feel that being a working mom for years, this kind of contributed to a burnout of my yin energy. I worked in a masculine dominating trade. I was a welder, and I worked a lot of hours in a very kind of a toxic environment, where there were lots of oils and chemicals, glues, and adhesives that I was inhaling. And then I would come home, I would have to cook and clean and take care of my household and children. And that stress really brought and kicked in a lot of my masculine energy, which I kind of had a burnout. And so that is my story of how I feel that it impacted this left side of my breast. It could have also been contributing to the way that I looked at maybe my father, the father paternal side of my life, which wasn't very healthy. I was a product of a affair, so I really didn't have a connection to my father at all. And then he died when I was very young. So that was a kind of very interesting connection that I didn't have, and that set up blockages for me. So it could be from that. So you just really don't know. And when you get into this energy part of what creates disease, and these are things that we can do, is how we think about it differently. So creating a powerful, energetic lineage through your own family line, which would be having a strong father figure over your children, was the way that I came out of that. So I have a husband that loves our children, and we've been in a healing relationship, basically cultivating a family structure for a very long couple of decades. So more than a couple of decades. So that's what I think is very supportive, looking at everything that goes into having breast health. So energy hygiene, we're looking at the breast, and what we can do in terms of keeping good energy in our breast. So we talked about the salt and clearing, using that. There's that whole network in our breast that we think that our body is simple on some level, that we would have all these millions of little alveoli or alveoli, little ducts in our breast. And they are like these little things that the milk kind of exchanges into nutrients for the baby, or the nutrients into milk for the baby. And whenever you're looking at that, because we had talked about in one of our lectures about the lungs and how we have them in our lungs, and that's a communication of how the oxygen goes into our bloodstream. So it's kind of the same thing with this in our breast, is that we have this issue of how we use it when we're nursing, but then there's like, okay, well, we're not nursing most of the time in our lives. If you are lucky to have more than 3 children, you may not be nursing for a very long time. So when you do that, you have to think about, well, what is this? What are these for? So when we go out into the world and we face the world, the first thing that people see, or that comes at them for women, is our breast. And so they see that first, it just comes right out. It sits out in front of you, and it's like almost like our shield. But also we emit energy from our breast. If you look at children, small children, they will come and place their chest, their heads right in the center of your breast, and they feel so comforted. I can remember my aunties and even my grandmother and my mother, and just burying your head in their chest, and you felt so supported and so loved. And this is just an energetic thing that's there, that's radiating from this nutritive side of us. And as women, a lot of times when we're extreme givers of our time, of our energy, we're always doing, we're always nurturing in other ways to people. Sometimes those women develop breast cancer and issues in their breasts because they're over nurturing this area, and they may not be doing their energetic cleansing. So it's very important to look at things. I have this beautiful silk scarf that I can place over my breast to do massage with. It's very supportive for your practice at home. You can do it with this if you don't have oils. And also thinking about using bras that don't have the underwire to them. I know some people have larger breasts, but they do make them where they're supportive for not pulling down this area here, putting dents in your shoulders. They make nice supportive bras now that does not have the underwire. So that's very supportive. And if you want to be sexy for the evening, they have the bras that are not, you just get them tighter so that it pooches you out. If that's what you're going for. Which I do. So I buy them extra. I get them a little size too small and then just squeeze in it, and then it gives you cleavage. So at any rate, those are things we do, and we want to have that attention, but we don't want to do our body harm. So by wearing the underwire, that's one way that we can, or not wearing it, is we can help support our breast health. And thinking of silk bras, there's this one company on Amazon, and they also have their own website, which is Lily Silk. And they have silk bras. There's probably a lot of other companies out there. So once you start to look at what, different silk bras that you can get, they're very supportive. Then you can find other companies, but that's just one to choose from. It's called Lily Silk. And you can wear the silk bras, which are very protective of energy that comes in, because again, we talked about all this different other forms of communication that's going on that is affecting our breast. So of course, I talked about the alum salt. I use that under my arms. And again, we have all these glands that's under our arms, and that also affects our breast as well. So we want to make sure that we're not using all of these different chemicals underneath our arms to take care of our hygiene. So aromatic massages are very, very important by using herbs. Our particular breast massage oil is here. It's 2 ounces, and it's quite a bit of oil here. You get a lot. It smells amazing. So I always say, whenever you do something, before you do it, just invite a healing experience in. So you smell, and as you smell this oil, you pick up on the lavender, which has a clearing effect, energy clearing effect. This is what it could do energetically. In terms of, for the body, it's very anti-inflammatory, and it has anti-cancer properties to it. So these oils have a lot of healing energy, and I'm just naming a couple, and I don't want to really not support this herbal because it's very powerful. The pine is our protection. So pine, as we know, the conifers are out here. They're everlasting in terms of their foliage. They never lose it. And they have a lot of cleansing properties. So pine can go in. People are using, I've heard a lot of speakers talk about using turpentines and things to support their lungs for dealing with this whole little issue that we have going on, which this flu. So they're using that. That's just a variation of strong pines that they put together, and they call it turpentine. But you can just, use pines. And so the pine is in here, and it's a protective, but it also has cleansing effects as well. So then our power comes from myrrh. And myrrh is a very sacred oil that I use in this particular blend. It actually has been proven to kill cancer cells in a test tube. So if I knew that something could kill a cell in a test tube, I would try to use it as well on my breast. And so that is very, very supportive. And also Ling Ling, which brings in the sensuous energy. It's also very great for dealing with anxiety and different issues that you'll have that affects the emotional part of you. So Ling Ling will, or Ylang, people say it differently. But at any rate, that's a very supportive essential oil. So we use that for our aromatic experience. That's going to support the emotions, the frontal lobe experience. And also it's going to go into our tissues and work there. And energetically, it has cleansing, protective properties. So it's a very well thought out blend. So again, we have a visual of these aviali. I can't say this word. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say this word, but just the whole looking at it and really connecting to what this is inside of our breast, and really looking at all the here I am messing up words again, but all of the detail that's inside of just our breast. And it's really important to get this visual, because you can look at, okay, you have fat cells and stuff around here and all these different veins and things of that nature. So it just gives you a visual of all this stuff that's going on here. And then, of course, this is your chest wall that kind of separates your breast from your lungs and all that back there. So our body is designed beautifully to support us. And again, we have these lymph glands that are all throughout. We have to be very supportive of what we're putting on our breast. And so if possible, I always like to, before I do any type of meditation, because that's what we're going to do next, I always like to open up the body and kind of get the body prepared for the energy that you're going to be bringing in. So by doing spinal cord breathing, you kind of really work with the back part of your spine. You also work with opening up the breast. So you're coming down and you're opening up. Coming down and you're opening up. And this is a wonderful way to open up your chest through breathing and movement. And so the next thing is our earth and heaven breathing, where we're going to make the connection. And I always like to look at in between spaces. It's a really magical alchemical process that happens whenever you're doing something energetic. You always want to look at two raw forces creating a third force. And so as you're doing your earth and heaven breathing, in between is our breast and our chest and our heart. So that's what we're activating by this breathing. So we're pulling energy up from our perineum, coming up and coming down from our pineal and merging in the middle. And as we do that, we're pulling in more forces that are outside of us. So the perineum and the pineal is inside of us. And so we need more support. So we'll go outside, we'll go to the heavens to pull that energy, download that in here to the center, sacred center, and then we'll pull from the earth and pull that into the perineum. And the perineum is also a magical in between. It's in between a gate of life and a gate of death. And so as you work with these sacred spaces and you're pulling the energy up from the earth and down from the heavens into the middle center, which is your chest, you're able to really make that connection before you go into your breast massage. And this is something that you could do, and it could literally take 5 minutes if that's all you have per day. But I like to encourage, you to think about, consider how much time you want to put into your self-love practice. So if you have a couple of minutes that you can do on one day, I encourage you to do that. Something is better than nothing. And if you have more time, then invest more time. So you can start out with reps of just 36, and you can go all the way to 360. So it's just a matter of how much time you have. So from there, we're going to start with our spinal cord breathing, and I'm going to play this video. I hope everyone can hear it. It's a YouTube video.
Intimate.
Can you guys hear it? So we're going to start out with just closing our eyes, breathing in and exhaling out, opening up. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to open up. So we're going to open up here and go back out, opening that chest up. Inhale, coming down. Open up. And exhale, coming down. Open up. And exhale, come down. Let's do this a little faster. All right, so we are doing the spinal cord breathing. So we're exhaling, or inhaling, excuse me, exhaling. Now you want to just pull your hands down, back into the prayer position, connecting to your perineum, focusing energy all the way down into the earth, squeezing the perineum up and pulling the energy into the earth, and from the earth up through your body. All the way up, up, up to the top of your head, and exhale back down. Focusing on your perineum, drawing energy in from the earth, squeezing it up, 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 all the way up to the top of your head, and exhale down. focus on your heart and feel love growing there. And now place your hands over your nipple and hold it. Thanking the Lord for your beautiful breast, your health. Feeling the warmth from your hands. Squeezing up perineum into your breast. Exhaling down back into the earth. Again, squeeze up perineum. Pull the energy up into your breast. Exhale down. Feel any negative energy or trapped there in your breast tissues go into the earth to be dissolved. Think about all the judgments you've had on yourself as you squeeze up, pulling energy up from the earth, healing energy, and exhale down any negative energy. Inhale, squeeze up to the breast. Exhale down. Now just hold your breast. Feel your healing chi moving from your hands into your breast. You are love. You are light. Simple, energetic type of massage that you can do, or not really a massage, but just a practice that you can do to open up yourself to your own energy. So let's see, I don't know how I'm doing this here. Let's see, let's do the gallery. Oh no. Okay. So that was one way that we can do our healing practice. And we also know about the massaging, going up and around, and we talked about that using our oils. And you can go this way around 36 times in each direction, and then settle with the holding and connection. When you engage the energy coming from the perineum and the pineal and merge it together as you're breathing in, it really engages and encourages you to feel more healing energy. It's your own energy, and you use it to energize your breast tissue. So again, thank you so much for the testimonials that we had today. Everyone showing up. And again, I'm going to send out a link with some of the things that we discussed, some of the links to future classes that you could take with the original Titans about the meditation and not meditation, but just the awareness that she does teach. So definitely, hopefully, we will get together again for another share where we can go a little bit deeper into some other healing practices as we move out of the lung chi and to the kidney season, which is going to be our winter months. We will be getting into reproductive health. So that's going to get more deeper into breast massage and also different breathing and techniques that we can do to protect our body as women. So this has been a great night. I thank you all so much for making space to share with this circle of us. And so we're going to end here. And again, thank you so, so very much. Is there anyone who would like to share? Do this. Okay, so if there is not, oh, okay, let's stop here.